What's up, everybody? Welcome to a
Hello.
new podcast at Jay and Elk. So, today we got a couple interesting topics to discuss. Um, we want to start off today talking about what makes a high value man.
Yeah, and before we get into that, it's come to my attention that the audio on the last stream was not the best. Well, here you go.
Speaking
Upgraded
of,
mic, upgraded everything, just like I promised. I stick to my word.
you guys don't hear an echo, right?
I believe we're good. I can double check.
Make sure the settings are all good
Yep,
real quick. All right, yeah, we got everything
I
muted.
think we're good here.
All right, perfect. All right, so to start off today, we want to talk about what makes you a high value man. So, Johnny, you got any thoughts on that?
Well, and I'm glad we're covering this because I feel like, again, this is one of those things that a lot of people talk about. Um, And I wouldn't even necessarily, it's very hard. It's very difficult to be a high value man. I think a lot of people would like to think that they're high value, um, but in reality they're not. I mean, it's like it's just a lot of people would like to think that they're high value for sure. Maybe they're the thing is to be high value means you have to be above average, right? And what does above average really mean at the end of the day? We have way above average, we have slightly above average, even being slightly above average as a man
Mm,
doesn't get you that far, really. It really doesn't get you that far these days.
yeah.
Um, so, what makes a high value man? For sure, well, the first thing I want to say is mental competency, for
Yep.
sure. If you're with an incompetent man, how can you say he's high valued at the end of the day?
Yes. I
That's
agree
the
with that
first thing,
100%. Uh,
for sure. And that's like a deal breaker, honestly. If I don't care if he's, if you got money and he's the most in shape person of all time, if he's not competent, then how is he going to be able to lead a family or lead a woman in a relationship that's not high value? And I believe that's another thing that comes with being a high value man is you have to be willing to lead and know how to lead as an individual. Um, what else?
so a lot of it comes down to like the mental.
The mental, I would say mental is definitely one of the big things.
Uh-huh.
Um, Meditating every day. I mean, I don't meditate every day.
So of course you got other like areas where like income, social status, all these other factors come into play. But a huge one as a man, as women say, they find attractive a man with a good mindset. They like the way they carry themselves. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, I would say the way that you carry yourself also has to do with, your mental, um, just your mental health in general, you
Hmm.
know. Um, I feel like if somebody has very bad mental health, I can't assume that they're carrying themselves in a good way at the same
Mm.
time, you know.
Yeah.
Um, they may look good, they may be in shape,
Hmm.
they may, go to the gym and work and make somewhat of a decent money. But again,
But there's no mental
there's no
stability.
mental stability there. And the thing is, if you have somebody who's mentally unstable, when we're dealing with, when they're dealing with their significant other, whoever that may be,
Hmm.
a lot of the times they're gonna want you to be that rock, that
Yeah.
they can kind of go to and lean on and say everything is fine.
Emotional support.
Emotional support,
Hmm.
exactly, right. So it's hard to find emotional support from somebody if they're completely mentally unstable at the end of
Yes.
the day. So we talk about high value. I mean, I can hammer mental capability all day for sure. Um, but again, that's probably one of the biggest things. You definitely want to be in shape. You can't, not that I'm the most in shape person of all time.
Gotta
but
polish the Ferrari,
yeah,
keep the upkeep.
you gotta make sure you're going to the gym, you're doing what you
Hmm.
gotta do at least at the
Taking
end of the
care of
day,
yourself. Yep.
taking care of yourself, try and eat right. Again, I'm not, you know, I wish I could always practice what I preach every time. I I don't abuse myself as much as I used to, I'll say that.
Hmm.
But I still can do better. I think everybody can do better and they all know it deep down. Um, so, I would say, being in shape, um, working very hard, making a very good income
Yep.
for sure. A lot of the times it's in the in most relationships, right? From my experience, from what I've seen, if the man is the one providing,
Yep.
everybody's just happier at the end of the day, I truly believe that.
I think it comes down to natural human instinct. You know what I'm saying? The man provides. Don't get mad at me. Hey, don't cancel me, but the man provides.
It's an evolutionary thing. It really is, and it's I don't think it's a lot of the times it's all like this is why we started this podcast because like all of these things that we believe in that we generally believe in that we've heard from other people on the internet saying everyone that talks about these kind of things
Mhm.
you know they get canceled or they'll get shunned or whatever and they'll get a lot of hate and it's like well what if I agree with this kind of stuff too like am I what
And I
if
think a lot of people feel the same way, Johnny,
yeah,
especially nowadays. A lot of people feel the same exact way, and they just, they can't express themselves. Society's suppressed them to the point where, no, you can't say that, you can't say this, and
right, yeah, absolutely. And I think another thing that, would make you high value as a man, as
hmm.
an individual, um, is your
Would you say that personal appearance, like your looks, your physique, appear to be in a high value man?
I would say yes, for sure. That's definitely a bonus.
Mm.
I would say the other thing that really makes you high value that nobody really kind of talks about is your ability to solve problems.
Yeah,
Um,
problem solving is a
yeah,
huge trait to that.
yeah,
Yes, I
yeah.
agree with that
But
100%.
then again, that goes all back to mental competency, right?
Hmm.
So you can say, if you don't have somebody you don't have somebody that's really um, competent to solve problems at the same
Hmm.
time. But at the same time, if you're an individual that everybody's coming
Yep.
to help, to have you help them
Mm.
because they have a problem that needs to be solved and they feel like you can solve almost anything,
Yep.
a lot of people are depending on you. That makes you high value right off the bat.
Hey, Johnny's cooking right now. This guy is cooking.
We're grilling right now. We're grilling. I'm telling you. Hey, I'm not perfect by any means. Again, I'm not the one. I'm not gonna be out here, pretending that I don't, you know, I'm high value. I don't even believe I'm a high valued individual. Like I'm working to get there still. Like I really want to be the guy that everybody comes to solve problems and all this kind of other stuff and be super in shape. I got a little bit of a belly right now. It used to be a lot bigger. I used to be way more out of shape.
Mm.
I'm still working on myself, but again, this is why I started this. I like to start this podcast because I like to talk about these kind of things and because I'm in pursuit of them.
Yep, exactly. Well, I got an interesting question for you, Johnny. So, do you think you would benefit more from having high charisma and good looks with a low income? Or would you benefit more having a high income but no charisma and not being a good looking man?
Yeah, and this is a very difficult question, right? Because it's like on one side you got the looks, right? Like you're at least you said low charisma and or high charisma, no income,
Yeah.
high charisma,
Or as
no
these
income.
youngins nowadays call it Riz.
Yeah, yeah. There
Riz.
is.
Shout out, you know, new generation. Gen Z over here got the Riz.
So I would say, this is a tough question to answer, right? Because on one side you can't provide,
Yep.
but on the other side, you know, how can your woman really love you at the end of the day, or really be with you at the end of the day, knowing you know, like it's one thing if you're trying and you're out of shape. Like I'm not judging people, right? But if you're
Mhm.
just not trying and you're completely out of shape, then that's another story. Um, so what I would say is I feel like you would want to provide for your other,
Yep.
and if it really just depends on the woman that you're with as well, you know. But I do believe in the long run that she's going to want somebody that can ultimately provide for her
Mm.
rather than take for looks. So I'll believe that you'll benefit more from having a high income
Yep.
with no charisma and no looks
Mhm.
in the long run, because you're more likely to at least find somebody that is looking for some financial stability. But then again, at the same time, you want to make sure that she's not hustling you. So it's like it's still a loss, you know.
Yeah.
There's so many. There's a downside to it all. So I'm over here arguing with myself, and I keep changing my mind. I don't even know really. Like, um, in the long run, it'll probably benefit you, like I mentioned. But what you're gonna want to do is essentially you're gonna want to be the one that um provides for her in the long run.
Mhm.
And it's going to be hard to do that with no income, even if you have looks, right? I don't think a woman is just going to stay with a man just purely for his looks.
Yep.
Then again, I don't think she's purely just going to be with him for the money. I mean, maybe there will be someone, but not in the long run at the same time, too. So, it's a very difficult question to answer, but what I would say is, she'll probably stay with you in the shorter term for your looks. If you
Yes.
don't get your money up in the long run, she might leave you because again, she's looking for somebody, that can support her. If she can support herself, then she's probably just going to leave you anyway, because what does she need you for? That's just how it is, you know. If you're not, if she's doing more than you, and that's just how it is. If she's doing more than you, she's gonna leave you
Mhm.
from the beginning. So you gotta find your even. You gotta make sure that I think the most important thing is finding your even. You gotta make sure that you're taking care of yourself, taking care of your income, being the person that people can lean on at the same time, and then going over your values every single day with the people that you love, because you know, if you do that, then you're reminding them, and you're reminding yourself, and you're reminding everybody else around you how much those values mean to you. And I think that's one thing these days that's missing a lot from relationships specifically. So
Exactly. And Johnny spent facts there. When we get into talking about fitness and testosterone levels, which obviously testosterone levels contributes to who you are as a man, um, there's many certain things that will help boost that. We have squats, deadlifts, all that stuff. These are workouts that will naturally boost your testosterone level. Um, Also, we have a lot on foods. Certain foods, if you eat chicken, steak, all that other stuff, a lot of the chicken and steak you go to supermarkets to buy nowadays, they're what's that word that you know what I'm talking about?
the
How they're like processed. That's what it
process,
processed.
yep.
Yes, it actually boosts estrogen level in your system, lowers testosterone, which is bad for you. Is grass fed steak. Then there is I forget what they call the chicken, but um
It's like natural farm raised chicken, I believe is what you're talking about.
yeah, which is good
Yep.
for you. A lot of stuff like that will lower your testosterone levels. The
No, no,
grass
no.
fed,
The grass fed and the natural farm raised chicken will actually help you. So
yes,
you're gonna
those will
so
benefit you positively.
yeah, for sure. So and here's the other thing too. Um, there's a lot of like controversy right now too behind like butter. Um, and I've looked into this. So if you go to a restaurant, of course, a lot of like any butter that you get from there is probably not going to be real butter, right? So that's the butter that's bad for you. But I've seen there's and we do have our sources here. We looked this up before we did this, and I knew about this beforehand as well.
Mm.
That butter itself is actually grass-fed butter, real grass-fed butter.
There's a stuff called ghee. It's GHEE.
hmm
Very good for you.
This stuff is very, very good for you. So if you cook like steak or chicken or whatever on in the oven, even if you bake it or whatever, you throw a little of that butter on there, it's so good and it's good for you and it's good for your testosterone levels. So, um, I've known about this again like beforehand. We've been getting natural butter here at my house for like forever and ages. And you know, again, you just want to be careful when you're going out to eat. In restaurants, obviously they're not using real butter because it's very expensive. And there's a reason it's very expensive. It's because it's very good for you. Chances are nowadays, here's the other thing. If you're
Mhm.
buying something that's not processed and very expensive, the reason why it's very expensive is because it's probably very good for you.
If you look at, well,
Believe it or not.
let's start with this. If you look at America's ingredients when it comes to the food that's here, it's all processed. The ingredients list is a lot longer. Say you went to UK, somewhere in another country, the ingredients list is so much shorter, the food's so much healthier. It's almost like they're adding stuff to cause like issues, health issues, all this stuff, like they're promoting something. It's definitely promoting bad health, obesity, all that other stuff. Now, when we get into talking about the water itself, so most people have tap water. Um, the thing about that is they add fluoride into it. Which fluoride? Well, they say they put it in there for your dental hygiene, promote tooth decay, all that other stuff. But the thing about fluoride, believe it or not, they have done plenty of studies. They did one in Mexico actually, where men with a higher fluoride level in their system, when they do a urine test, they have a lower testosterone level. It's almost like they're suppressing testosterone levels in the country. Now, I'm not trying to get too far into conspiracy theories here, but it sounds like, there's something going on
And
here.
I think that a lot of people know about this already. Um, I don't think this is a surprise to anybody at the end of the day. Um, if there are people that are truly blind to this still, then they have to live under a rock or just be careless because, this is one of those things that I truly think about every single day, and from the beginning, like I said, I was never really the person that kind of stayed in shape. I like if I ever pulled up like an older picture of me, for the people that are watching that know me, obviously too, they'll say like if you ever pull up an older picture of me, I was like, I was like 30 pounds heavier than I am right now, just completely out of shape. Very low testosterone. I did a lot of damage to my body growing up over the
Hey, the
years.
transformation this man has made is amazing. He's put in the hard work and
Yeah.
effort.
I still
It's
have a
good,
lot of
bro.
work to do, I gotta continue trying to watch what I eat and, not be kind of like a fat slob like I used to be. So, um, it's a lot of irreversible. Some of it's irreversible, I believe, that I've done to my body. Like I don't think there's certain things that I won't be able to come back from. Like I don't think I'll ever be able to reach a certain level of testosterone because of the fact that testosterone usually peaks around a certain age, and I believe that ship has sailed for me, as well as um, I didn't take advantage of the fact that you can do like deadlifts and squats and like all these leg workouts growing up. I believe around like 16 or 17, and that's the reason why you see a lot of these 16, 17-year-olds in the gym these days, and they're huge. Like that's because their testosterone levels are literally at their peak right now. Like I believe it's 18, maybe 19, 20. I don't know, quote me. But I know it's
I
like
think testosterone peaks at like 27 or maybe early 30s. I forget
okay.
the exact numbers,
But I
but
believe no, but I believe there's a big ramp up in the early teens
mhm.
that if you get started on it earlier and you train your legs very hard. Right now I'm training my legs like 2 to 3 times a week because I'm still trying to increase my testosterone. I'm trying a little bit something new. I've been doing it for about a couple of months now. I've been seeing some good results.
Mhm.
But I believe for any teenagers out there that want to take some advice that I wish I took, start training your legs at like 14, 15 years old.
Especially deadlifts,
Deadlifts, squats.
2 to 3 times a week.
I guarantee you, and you eat well, you sleep well, you take care of yourself. I guarantee you will be probably like one of the biggest people in the gym. Like it's unbelievable. It really is. It
It
really
is.
is. And this is why I try and spread the word. I was telling my nephew the other day about this as well. I was like, you're still young. You're 8. You know, I want you to start training your legs when you like now. Do like body weight squats. You don't even need to weight or anything. Wake up, do some squats, do like 10 to 20, you know?
Yeah.
It's not bad. And the thing is, a lot of people think it's bad for them. It's not. This was a, what do you call it? It's bad if they're lifting heavy weight, okay? If they're using their body weight to do pull-ups or push-ups, squats,
Mm.
kids can do that. It's bad if they're putting too much strain on their body because their body's still growing. Um, but again, it's all evolutionary too. I'm sure like back in our cavemen days, there was no way the kids were just like, not like running around and, like climbing rock mountains and stuff like that, you know?
So I want to bring up something interesting, Johnny. So did you see Travis Scott's new post for his album cover? Like when he released his album, he had that post with his album cover. Then he had two kids with their shirts off. One was covered in like crayon drawings. And then after that, he had two demonic pictures of his face with like two faces. Like, I don't know what was going on there, but all I can say is they're not even hiding it anymore.
Yeah.
Do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, like so this is another thing, right? Like there was that thing that happened with one of his concerts as well, right? Where there was like people that got like stomped to
That
death
was
because there
crazy.
was a massive like panic in the crowd
And
and
he didn't even stop to like,
yeah, 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 yeah.
hey, get that
And
guy some help.
to make it even worse, the stage was an upside down cross.
Yeah.
Like like when like I
And a
feel
lot of these artists are known to do that too. They have a lot of satanic rituals within their concerts. Upside down cross. I think I seen that at a little Uzi Vert concert, but I'm pretty sure he actually just came out as a Satan worshiper.
well like dude, a lot of these and they're not even hiding it from us anymore, right?
Uh,
Like Hollywood, like this is a known thing.
Christ is king.
Hollywood is satanic. They've pretty much said it over and over and over to us
Uh,
for like ages now. Like this is not a secret, you know.
yeah.
For the people that don't, that think this is all just kind of like, or don't believe in it, or just think it's kind of all like a coincidence or something. Like I don't know how naive you really got to be at the end of the day.
Well, it's weird because everyone's been talking about this for years and years and years now, and now that social media has become more of like a mainstream thing, like everything's out in the open now. Now people are starting to talk about it, and I feel like they're just being more open about it. It's either that or they're doing it to boost their sales because they know it's going to attract attention. It's one of those things.
Hey, if it's for attention, then I think that's just disgusting. Honestly, personally, I can't
Right.
even. If you're doing that for attention, I can't even like. There's so many other ways you can get attention. That's just pathetic, honestly. Um, you know, it's hard for me to kind of like even fathom all of this sometimes. Like like for the people that don't believe it, like I'm just like there's been like even in like listen to their lyrics. Like there's so many lyrics out there that like like they literally just tell you straight up, oh, this happened. This happened. I sold my soul. I did this with with the devil. Whatever. And it's like they're saying that for a reason. Like they're it's subliminal at the same time.
Yeah,
Because people don't want to hear that or admit it. But it's the truth. You gotta look at the reality sometimes. A series of coincidences is not a coincidence.
exactly.
Once you see a series of coincidences,
It's planned out.
it's planned out. It's planned out, and you gotta be smart enough to see that. You know.
Yeah, a lot of crazy stuff going on right now. Another thing I wanted to bring up was the Bud Light thing that was going on. I'm sure everybody remembers that. A lot of people boycotting Bud Light and all that stuff. Apparently, they have dropped so low, they don't have any sales, that they had to fire hundreds of employees.
Or like lay them off, right? Yeah.
Hundreds of
I think I heard
employees.
about this. Yeah.
That is insane to me.
Yeah. Well, I think this is another thing, right? And I don't have any sort of, hate or disrespect, or I respect literally the majority of people out there. I really do.
Hmm.
As long as they're respecting me. I'm
Yeah.
not really the type of person to, start problems or anything. But, um, you know, when it comes to this kind of woke thing that's been being promoted over and over, I think people are just sick of it, right?
Yep.
We can look up the statistics, right? There's like a fraction of the people in this country right now are like
Well, I feel like I hate to interrupt you, but I feel like Andrew Tate honestly said it best. It's like this. So I'm okay with this. I'm okay with this. I'm okay with this. I'm okay with this. But how far are we gonna let our limits be pushed? Oh, now you want to interact with our kids, this and that. Like I'm coming for the kids, all this weird stuff going on. What does that mean? Like, what do you mean you're coming for the kids?
so like right. So and you know he actually just released a I was watching it last night. He actually just released a an interview with Candace Owens,
Yep.
and he mentioned on the podcast yesterday. So his father was in the CIA,
Yep.
right? And his father knew all of like the secrets and all this other kind of stuff. And they were calling him crazy back in the day. Like he was saying like, "All right, relax, you crazy guy," or whatever. But it's true. Like he mentioned yesterday, he was talking about like the war with Russia and Ukraine.
Uh,
How he was predicting this like beforehand. I don't know, I forgot what year, but this was like probably the 90s, maybe the 80s.
uh,
But this is a while back. We're talking over 20 years ago now, is what I'm saying. And he was like, "Oh, and they're gonna the gays are gonna come for your children because gays can't have children, and they're gonna, they're gonna take yours and all this other stuff." And like, and it's like, and I saw something. There was like I don't know, like a protest or something, like a like a LGBT
well,
protest or something.
Valuetainment said it best. They actually had a not a podcast, but like an interview recently.
Yeah, yeah. It
Um,
was like,
the
"We're here, we're queer, and we're coming for your children," like that kind of like that was there
he,
was a
he did like a whole. I think it's called the video is called "Exposing the LGBTQ Community" or something like that.
yeah.
But he
There was like a
yeah, he was actually talking about
protest with like all of them screaming that.
well, yeah, but he was talking about how the numbers have rised over the years, and he kind of breaks it down. I'm not gonna get too much into it because I'm not I don't do too much research on the subject, but he had pretty good points, and I definitely recommend you go and watch that video. It's Valuetainment. What's that guy's name? PB some
Uh,
Patrick Bet Dave
Patrick Bet
David.
David,
Yeah, yeah,
or Patrick David, I think. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah,
He's really good. He had
yeah.
some good
Yeah,
statistics. He's a journalist and he's very good. I
yep,
definitely recommend you go watch that video. Um,
yeah. But they actually, so he did go over that too, and they were doing like a protest. I don't know. They were all outside marching, and they were chanting, "We're here, we're queer, and we're coming for your children." And it's like,
yeah, I've
You know,
heard
and
about
and
that
it's
one.
like if people in the CIA are like to know this knew this stuff way back in the day, I can only imagine like what else there is, you know. I believe this is all utterly just to take control of the people, and it's just a control. It's a control mechanism at the end of the day, you know.
Exactly.
Um, just work on yourself.
Yep. Work on yourself. All right. Well, that's about 30 minutes. I think
Yeah.
that's gonna conclude today's podcast. Thank you guys for tuning in.
Thank you
Let
so
me
much.
actually, you know what? We're not gonna end yet. I want to check the comments to make sure we have no questions. If you have any questions, put them in the chat box
Pop
right
them in
now.
the
We'll
chat.
get to them. All right, we got no questions.
All right.
Well, just want to end on a note real quick. So make sure you go and follow all our social medias. We got them right there in the bottom left corner. Turn on notifications. That way you know we go live. We have Kick. We have Rumble. Right now we're just mainly going live on Kick. Eventually we're gonna probably do a little bit on Rumble, but we have to get a certain viewpoint by then, so we're gonna keep posting our videos until we get to that viewpoint. But yeah, on that note, you got
All
anything else
right.
to say, Johnny?
No, thank you so much, everybody who's watching. I love you all. Tune in next time.
Yep, we'll be live soon.
We'll
Thank
be
you
live
guys.
soon. Bye bye, guys.